Ooh, okay. I just found the article about what the. Oh man, that's a cool. Well, this is a cool article.
That's a cool article that you got going
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
You got a cool microphone. Completely forgot.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I
I
had it
already,
plugged in.
I already started recording,
I
so
It's
was
okay.
this
I
is
was
all
gonna
part of
ask, is
it.
this the cold opening?
This
Okay,
could
I
be the
can't
cold
tell.
open.
Davey
Hey,
changing his microphone half the time is our cold open.
Yeah.
It really is. No, it's just we were having a. I don't know how much of that you were recording for. We were having a cool discussion about. There's an old Jimmy Johnson shirt on Twitter. If you're listening to this and you snipe me for buying it, I'm gonna come to where you live and I'm gonna beat you up. Well, it got us talking about what exactly Jeff Gordon saw in Jimmy Johnson to try and convince Rick Hendrick to give him a ride, like a car, a team. I found a really cool article that kind of talks about it, and it's very makes a lot of sense. It's a cool little. I don't know how much I want to talk about it. It's not my article, but it just said like they're talking about like Jeff and I think or oh no, it was Ricky Hendrick. It was Ricky Hendrick and Jeff Gordon. They were standing on top of a hauler and they saw Johnson. They saw Jimmy like started taking laps, and they were talking about like prior to that like lines and what you want to do around the racetrack. And they noticed that Jimmy was taking the exact things that they were doing exactly what like Jeff was doing, talking about the exact thing that he was doing. And he said, that guy right there, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And then when they asked who it was, someone said it was Jimmy Johnson. And it was like, this guy has no experience. He's never run this track before. And they were like, and so I guess that's kind of,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's a cool little story. I paraphrased it a lot, but it's a cool article. I just kind of speed read it.
Now,
It's on The Athletic.
I have a question for you.
No, you don't.
Did you do your Apple research?
My Apple research?
Yeah, from last
I
week.
did not do the Apple research,
Yeah,
but here's why I didn't do the Apple research. You want to know why I didn't? I made a conscious decision not to do
No,
the
you
Apple
didn't.
research.
You forgot about it.
Yes, I did.
No.
Yes, I did. Because it's easy. Because you want to know how the Granny Smith apple was made?
I do.
So it sounds like you did do some Apple research.
No, I knew this. So I don't remember what the two apples were. Hence, this is why I didn't do as much research as I should have. I don't remember what the two apples were, but Granny Smith apples were created when she was like tossing apples out of her window, and two of the different apple seeds like crossed and made a Granny Smith apple. It was Granny Smith. Granny Smith was throwing the apples out. And that's where Granny Smith came from.
I don't believe that.
That's the story, as it were told.
It's a bad story. Pretty
okay.
Unbelievable.
All right.
It's not on you.
Can I talk about my racing from this weekend?
Yeah, did you fall?
Actually, yeah, you can. It was pretty cool. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, so this weekend was a state qualifier race, which is basically when everybody around NorCal comes to my track. For reference, there's usually about 30 motos. There was 145.
It's a little different.
Yeah, my cousin, or not my cousin, my nephew Colton had 21 kids in his class. For reference, there's 8 lanes on a gate. So it took 4 separate races to do his entire class. I had a full gate of 8 people. And for Moto 1, I drew gate 8, which is the very outside, which is the worst. And I was P3 going into the first corner and then got swept up the track by 4 guys and fell almost all the way back to last because I couldn't defend myself and I didn't qualify on the first moto, whatever. Ended up making it in the second one. And then my main event. So I'm small. I'm a small dude. And I think guys kind of took advantage of that because as soon as the gate dropped, basically the 2 guys around me just converged on me and I had to basically brake as soon as we got out of the gate. And I was a full 2 bike lengths back, dead last and 7th before the first jump. And then I rallied and I still got a podium out of it.
I
saw the video of that.
Yeah, Joe put in the video here.
Last straightaway is going to go roaming. Roaming out of where?
Yeah, that's great.
You good? Go Matthew! Okay, right on. 12-on-1. Coming through. Go Matthew! Big cool car. It's got me. Good speed. Go Matthew! Go Matthew! Go Matthew! Go get him! Let it follow the town. Go Matthew! Go Matthew! Go Matthew! Go out of boy! Yeah, go Matthew! Yeah.
I caught and passed. So I caught the guy who squeezed me and like in the first berm, crossed him over, and then just like cut him off as we came out of the corner. And I was like, all right, cool, we're even now. Second straight, just carried my momentum, passed 2 more guys through that one, and then ran down one of the guys in my race was a buddy of my brother's, ran him down, was side by side with him going into the last berm, and he's on the inside, and then he almost crashed, and I cleared him, came off the final corner, and then just ran for my life and came home in third. And I was so pumped that unfortunately the video doesn't catch it. You can see me reel back, and I do like a air punch because I was friggin' excited that I got a podium out of it, and then I locked up my brakes and crashed and hurt my hip, but I got third place. So
Yeah,
from
that's
dead
awesome.
last to a podium in about 40 seconds. So
That's sick.
I'm
Congratulations.
a little proud of that.
Matt's
So,
BMX
We got a
growth has been
podium.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
We
We
did
got
it.
a
We did
podium.
this.
actually, I've run 2 state qualifiers, and I've got 2 third places for both of them. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
for Dale,
That's what I'm
baby.
saying.
So,
We're
yeah.
part of this, Davey.
We are. We did this.
'Cause
It's
we
kind of us,
sponsor him.
actually.
Yeah.
We kind of like.
We're the ones that
like,
get this going.
Yeah.
Like in reality, in a weird kind of way, like we were pedaling the bike. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the moto sheet did say JTN as like my listed
That's
sponsor.
insane. That is
Which is
so
funny because I haven't filled that out as my sponsor in like 2 months, and they just they still keep putting it there. So I was like,
they
all right.
know.
I'm paying the
You know
right
the-
people, apparently.
They know this. They know the staying power of JTN. Clearly.
So that was
Oh,
fun though. That was
that's
what I
proud of
spent
you.
all day Saturday
Congrats.
doing.
That's
Heck yeah.
awesome. I want to try and get. Hopefully, in a year, if I can move to Charlotte in like a year, I want to get Tommy and I want to get us out to Millbridge. That'd be fun.
Oh, that'd be cool. There's a BMX track in Charlotte also.
There you go. We're all
Which-
going to be racing.
I was looking at this. I would love if we do another Charlotte meetup. I want to bring my bike and go race, but they race on Sundays, which will be at the Coke 600. So
Plus, do you really want to fly your bike out there?
absolutely, I'm gonna go race with the boys.
Race with the
enough.
boys. Yeah, boys racing.
Well, folks, we are dry, unlike the Daytona International Speedway. On this
Probably
week's
still wet today.
Fake Racers
Yeah.
podcast. Well, yeah, I guess you're a little bit closer. It did actually downpour up here like about an hour ago. I took a nice nap.
Mm.
Good.
Mhm.
You know, that rain nap. But welcome. I'm Joe. To my left on your screen is Mr. Davey Hazard.
Me.
And down below, of course, is Mr. Matthew Steelman.
Me.
Podium winner.
Hey.
Podium finisher.
Oh yeah.
Third on the podium. Third on the show. Third in your hearts.
I was gonna say third in your hearts.
I was gonna give him some credit, you know.
Well, it goes Bristol, Davey, Matt in your hearts.
I'll take that.
So, but nonetheless, Fake Racers podcast. You know the drill. I'm not gonna.
Joe,
talk
you're
about
in my
it too
heart.
much.
You're in
Oh.
my heart.
Thanks. Yeah, is your heart in your brain?
Mine, me is my brain. My heart is somewhere over here.
In this general vicinity. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that silly? We always talk about like the heart being where all the emotions are, but it's really just our brain, little synapses going. Pew!
Yeah, the heart's just plumbing. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Hey, in your heart.
Well,
It's in your
doctors
brain.
originally thought like the heart was like the heart of
Yeah,
the
but when has a doctor
nervous
ever
system.
actually helped somebody?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't trust doctors. I only stay at home and let my wounds fester.
They'll heal as the good Lord above it's intended.
As long as you put mud inside of them,
Rub some dirt in
good.
it. Yep.
Yeah. No, actually.
That's the natural healers.
All right, Daytona.
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 NASCAR was from Daytona.
Yeah.
It was raining. Cup Series race postponed until Sunday.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Austin Dillon wins.
Kind of weird.
This is the first time since this race moved to the final race of the year that a guy in a absolute must-win situation won. William Byron won this race 2 years ago, but he was able to point his way in. Sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah, he was like already
He would have been in
on points, but winning
Locked
got him in for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but this is the first time a guy way outside had no chance in points locked themselves in by virtue of winning. That's kind of more so a product of the year, not necessarily a product of the race, in my opinion, right? Because Austin Dillon, his average finish is better than his teammates this year.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
He's been very unlucky. He has like better I mean, counting top fives and top tens, has better stats than outside of wins than Byron and Chase Briscoe, and of course Tyler Reddick.
And Austin
Just
Cindric,
had
I
some-
assume too.
Mm-hmm.
Cindric,
Probably most definitely.
maybe. Cindric's just been like very quietly like 13th every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Austin Dillon also has a better finish this year before the win than Martin Truex Jr., who hasn't finished better than 4th.
Dang,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
that's tough.
Dude was top 5 in points, most stage wins on the year too, but
That's wild. Yeah.
got 2 of them in the
That is tough.
Daytona 500, which people forget to mention a lot of the times when they say that stat. But yeah, dude, does Austin Dillon, does that get us going at all? Austin Dillon winning? Are we gonna do the whole he's not deserving little argument that people like to do when it comes to these type of things?
It's a tired kind of thing at this point, and a lot of people are going to make it a talking point of all their various podcasts and such. And there's going to be some people who say the whole like radio broadcast type thing that they're trying to be controversial. Austin Dillon does not deserve a spot in the playoffs. And then there's going to be the guy that's like, you look at the stats, he won a race, and you got to win a race to get in. You got to do that. And I mean, really, that's all tired because at the end of the day, this format. It makes it do this.
Mhm.
This is no longer a talking point in my opinion because it creates this.
This is the
And
format.
I'm not saying whether that's good, I'm not saying whether that's bad. I don't land anywhere there. Like I've said a few times, like I don't pay as much attention to the championship as I do the races,
Yeah.
Obviously it has an effect on the races, so I keep up with it in like that sense, but like as far as whether he's deserving or not, it's nonsense. You can make a case. Maybe the season's a bit of an outlier, but you can make a case most of the time that all but like 4 or 5 guys are ever quote unquote deserving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Just go back to our New Hampshire episode last year when we talked about Eric Almirola, and there you go. That's our entire. Just regurgitate everything we said there. So,
Basically,
yeah.
I just want to add anything?
I mean, all I was gonna say, I like Austin Dillon. Like, I'm
Yeah.
pumped for him that he won a race, but yeah, whatever. Sucks for Truex, but it is what it is.
And I think if you in Truex, he needs to get massive props for doing those interviews and stuff after in a very obviously
Yeah.
dejected state. I mean, that NASCAR doesn't make the effort to go back racing. He's in, right?
Mhm.
They make the effort to go back racing, which I think they should have, and I'm glad they did. Even if
that's the right thing to do.
even if the results ended up being the same, it was like you said, it's still the right thing to do, especially with there being so much on the line and so many things that could happen, especially with Blaney still being in the race, and still having a running car with so many cars dropping out that
Yeah.
were ahead of him, technically, right? Because that gap before they started running back laps, it was still 10, 15 point gap. It's just Blaney was able to pass so many cars after that big wreck. But obviously the big talking point is that wreck down there in turn 1. Let's go back to the beginning of the race. Let's start at the beginning and let's work our way to the end, which we just talked about. Let's do, because that's what we like to do here.
Yeah.
You get a couple early wrecks. You got your guys like Eric Jones up front doing really well. I thought he was doing a great job all day. I know Steve Letarte tried to give him a lot of crap for having a loose race car, and it shouldn't be up there. Screw off, buddy.
Did John ever show you what Steve
John
Letarte
sent me
said?
the video. Yeah,
He sent me
They've
that
been
too, and
good
I was like, what?
They've been good everywhere else, so they're not going to be good this week. Like, what?
It's so weird.
This isn't Hendrick
And-
Motorsports, Steve.
Yeah.
Woo!
Not to
Dang.
mention that Eric already almost won a plate race this year, and he's
Well, he
like, I don't
should've.
think he's going to be very
I
good
mean,
on
he
a plate
should
track.
have.
Yeah.
Dude made the biggest mistake you can make at Talladega and get too far. But not the point. Not what we're talking about. So Eric Jones does really well, but coming off of turn 2, hey, the guy that called out another guy in the Daytona 500 for doing the same exact thing does the same exact thing, causes a big wreck. Funny how that works. Guys like Brad Keselowski taking out Christopher Bell, who was running well. Who else was taken out in that one? There was one more.
Blaney was in that too. He didn't get taken out, but he was in
But he
that,
was
right?
in that one. That was the one he
Yeah.
was in. Yep. So he was actually the one I think that got hit by Bell, too.
Yeah, I think so.
So there, I mean, the handling came into play, right? Obviously, this ended up being a morning race, so maybe not middle of the summer, middle of the day type slick racetrack, but slicker than say a night race. But obviously, you have that first wreck. I don't know any talking points there. Anyone doing a good job?
I don't know if this is necessarily a talking point related to that, but it kind of has to do with it because Blaney was involved in it. But going into this race, it was never going to happen because of all the manufacturer gamesmanship. But I was like, if I'm going into this race as either Joe Gibbs or Roger Penske, I'm going to the other team and saying, hey, there's 7 of us. We have all but one of our guys in. If we just work together and control this race, let's get both of our guys in, let's, it would make sense theoretically if you're Penske to be like, hey, let's go work with the 4 Gibbs cars because if one of those 4 wins, we're in the playoffs no matter what. We're getting Ryan Blaney in, and vice versa. But
manufacturers probably wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah.
And that's like the really weird thing about it is like, especially Ford couldn't. I don't think you could have Ryan Blaney go out there and tell him you have to work with the Fords because there's like 7 Fords trying to knock him out of the playoff field. Because you have both RFK cars, both front row cars.
2 of the Stuart Haas cars.
Yeah, 2 of the Stuart Haas cars. And it's like, it's kind of hard to work with those guys because they're also, them winning will directly harm you.
Yeah, so this Daytona race, the way it's set up, kind of gets rid of some of those manufacturer alliances that we see at the super speedways now, it feels like, right?
Yeah.
You saw Toyota was the only one that really stuck to it, but that's just because they only have 6 cars, so it's kind of like, hey,
they kind of have to, yeah.
Right, because obviously you had Bubba Wallace trying to get in, and that kind of... Kyle Busch actually gave a really funny interview about it, saying, yeah, if I'm behind Truex and the 23 coming to the checkered flag, I'm lifting.
I saw a really funny tweet that said he should just go below the yellow line and just flip both of them off as he goes by.
But nonetheless, a classy move by Kurt Busch to take back his waiver request.
Did we talk about that last week?
No, because that got announced on Thursday.
It's obviously you don't want to see somebody like Kurt Busch miss the rest of the season, but it would have been bad for NASCAR to have this ridiculous playoff scenario coming into this race and then have one of the 16 cars then no show for the for the rest of the playoffs.
The 45 team's still in the owners playoffs, and that's actually what pays money to these teams.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 car is not in the owners playoffs because we have had 16 winners this year, which everyone said we would never get. So
yeah,
because I think we had 15 last year, right? And people are like, "Oh, you can't get to 16. Why not?" But so the 12 car is not in the owners championship. Blaney can still obviously win the drivers championship. You're probably not going to see that scenario. It's probably still going to be the same 4 in the 2 playoff races. Maybe if Blaney's in there, maybe not. But which I guess he's top 4 in points all year. Probably has a good shot to make it to Phoenix. But
let's talk about the crashes again.
There's a couple. They all run together.
There's that one on the backstretch
that
took out, didn't take out, but got Martin Truex Jr. involved. Yep. Ross Chastain, William Byron caught up in his bi-weekly friggin' super speedway wreck because he's always wrecking in these things.
And he always wrecks right there too. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Every time the 24 is wrecked at Daytona, it's in that spot at the end of the back straightaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have that happening. The Truex thing is interesting because they said they got Chastained. That was funny. Well, he never lifts. Poor Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
Wow!
I
have the replay pulled up, and he really didn't. He slammed in the back of Truex.
He did, but also like a little more difficult than.
Comes back to what we said last week, though. Once you have the reputation.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know. But we've also said that he's not always gonna get treated fairly, and that's what I'm saying. This is probably one of those situations where not getting treated fairly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
Once you've been in a bunch of incidents, everybody's gonna look at everything you do under a microscope.
But of course you have the rain wreck. Some pretty
yes, we do.
Some pretty scathing comments from Justin Haley that NBC proceeded to completely refute by showing his onboard camera. Wonder who told them to do that.
There was also the wreck where Chase Briscoe acted like he didn't have a spotter twice, but We move on.
Okay, yeah, Chase Briscoe wrecked himself off of Bowman, and Bowman was getting pushed, and it was just
And
super
he
speedway at
basically
the
put
end.
Bowman in the wall on the backstretch. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
damn
There
near put
was
him
a
in the
couple
wall and
times
then
where
wrecked off him.
There was a couple times where guys like actually like crashed into each other down the straight.
Yeah.
During the race. Did you guys notice that?
I did.
Like more than normal.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Oh, and Chase Briscoe's car got air in that wreck, and
Yeah.
everyone was really scared because the car went up and went back down when all the safety devices deployed, and that means that the car is not safe.
Mhm.
I'm
Do
joking.
you
That's
remember?
sarcasm.
Do you remember last year when I was talking about trying to have a way to where you'd have something that would deploy under the car if the car got spun around, and then they actually did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys felt when they started going over that, but I felt pretty validated.
But it was cool. Like the car was like going sideways, and like the roof flaps hadn't yet deployed,
Yeah.
and so the car
So
caught a
the
little
car
bit of
goes
air. But
up.
as it kept rotating, the flap came down and it set it
Yeah.
straight back down on the ground. It
I'd
was
still
cool.
like to see that something else besides a cable be used there, but it's a lot better than not having anything. So,
Yeah,
because
it's fair.
cables break, and also Harrison Burton did flip in one of these things, so it's not a 100%, but nothing's ever 100%. Not the point.
Yeah.
But the rain wreck at the end, or close to the end of the first part of the race, the initial race, let's call
Oh
it.
boy.
Woo!
I like to use the phrase "egg on your face."
Yeah.
NASCAR looked like they had a lot of egg on their face. Care to comment?
Being a Floridian, I have intimate knowledge and experience with the kind of pop-up rainstorms. It's going to be debated until the end of time whether that rain shower was there the lap before or whatever, or, whatever people are going to argue. There's going to be a lot of debate for a really long time about it. But I will say, just purely looking at the radar, you literally see a shower form on the track, like above the track. Like if you were looking at the radar, which like people in our little Discord chat were, like a blip forms on the track right when that happens. And my like my other experience with actual Florida weather, that just happens sometimes, dude. Like it just happens. Sometimes that rain, the sky will just open up and there it goes and here it comes and then it's down. Like it is hard. It is hard to kind of deal with weather in Florida. It's hard to like see when the rain's coming because the rain's just gonna kind of come when it comes, and when it comes, it's gonna come crazy because it's Florida. I've had pouring rain in my front yard and a totally dry backyard. Literally, I look out the front of the house, it's pouring. Look out the back, dry. It's happened many times. So it's hard for me to fault NASCAR for something like this. Some of the drivers say that it wasn't raining. Obviously, Justin Haley's going to say it is because, of course he is.
I mean, it was raining.
Yeah.
But there's a level of rain that
But there's
gets
also
burned off
yeah.
from the track heat.
Yes.
No,
I'm just
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. And that's something that I think fans maybe mistook as, it's raining and it's the rain staying on the track and everything's terrible. I mean, like there was probably there's probably rain on the windshields damn near the whole race for all those guys. Yeah. Like it was probably drizzling almost all day.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've been at Michigan before where it's a little drizzle and they raced for like another 30 laps.
Yeah, because the track heat will just straight up burn that off the second it touches the track. It's like snow that doesn't stay on the ground.
And it's not like I don't think any of us are trying to say it's safe to be doing that, but that's within your level of risk that you're willing to accept.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But
it's not even the first time this has happened at Daytona, because there was that Nationwide Series qualifying session that happened where it just started all of a sudden just started pouring on the backstretch and everybody wrecked.
Yeah, I mean,
that was in a straight line too.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that was like you saw the skies open up. Like it's not like it had rained. Like you saw it start raining. Like when they were going on the backstretch, it was such a wild thing, and it just happens.
This is probably something that's going to end up getting a procedure change because again, they're reactive, not necessarily always proactive when they do these types of things. If you're NASCAR, you also probably, you've been racing the rain all day. That's why you started the race at 10 a.m. Right? Like you're racing the rain at that point. Forecast does not look good all week. You want to get out of there by Sunday. Big week of media, but I don't know. It's frustrating. It's just frustrating, right? 'Cause you feel, as a fan, you feel a little cheated. I think there's probably some of that. Shout out,
especially because like this is the race that decides the playoff field too. Like there's so much like weighing on this race, and then and then that happens, and you're like, that seems about right.
It doesn't decide the field. I hate when they say that.
It more or less does, though. I mean, I know what you're trying to say. I know it doesn't decide it, but and that's I feel like it's a little bit nitpicky at the wording because I mean it does, because at the end of the day, we had 2-3 guys who were in who weren't really sure of their outcome, and then we had a whole host of guys who were trying to win and could have had a shot to win. Eric Jones, Harrison Burton almost got through that crash. I mean, there's a ton of guys. Bubba Wallace,
Ricky Stenhouse.
There's a lot, right? There's a lot. Justin Haley is a great example because he had a really fast race car. Eric Almirola. I mean, there's a ton of guys who that affects, and so it is a big deal. There is a lot riding on the race, and I struggle blaming NASCAR, but it is unfortunate that a gaffe of this magnitude happened in a race like this. It's not embarrassing, I wouldn't say, but it's really, really unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's a perfect example that hindsight's 2020 with this race. Because like,
what?
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020. What?
It's 2022, guys. Get it together.
Come on.
It's Captain Hindsight. Thank you, Captain Hindsight.
Anyway, after that wreck and they got back green, the race sucked.
It was kind of fun to watch, though, because it kind of like had that old plate racing, old super speedway vibe to it, right?
It reminded me a lot of the 02 Aaron's 312 when the whole field wrecked on like lap 9, and then like the top 6 cars spent the entire race just driving, like racing by themselves.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Wallace blew a motor and got a top 10.
It was like 3 really fast race cars and then like 8 or 9 chuckle buckets that really like couldn't keep up if they tried, Yeah,
let's give a shout out to some of the underdogs. Yeah. Landon Castle and Noah Gregson, top 5s. Cody Ware and BJ McLeod, 6th and 7th.
That
David Reagan completed the All 40 challenge. He got his 9th.
That beard car was quite fast. It's a shame Noah was kind of like all for himself a little bit, because I feel like if he could have hooked up with Landon, they could have done something.
Yeah.
But is what it is.
Oh, could you have imagined if Austin Dillon loses there? Because Tyler Reddick deserves a big attaboy for being a good teammate once again, helping the 3 car get a victory.
Once the 8 was behind the 3, I knew. I mean,
it was
there's no chance.
It was the same thing with like the 20 and the 11 in the clash in 2020, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
11 is going to push the 20. There's 6 cars left. We're good.
Yeah.
Even though the 20 was I got the car right there. It was a pile of dog crap.
Saw it in person. Didn't even realize that car was on the lead lap.
But like you said, attaboy to all those drivers. Congrats to the person that made $1 million off of those drivers.
Holy crap.
That guy.
I wish.
You know what's funny? Spending 14. He spent like $14, right? Like 13.
It was a free bet too. So like.
Oh what?
Yeah.
Oh.
So like he spent the money in the past, and that you get site credit. Like they'll do like those promotions. Like, oh, if you lose, you get free bets. But.
Oh man, yo, listen. Those aren't bad bets. Like in hindsight, like those aren't like terrible.
For that money,
it's almost worth it to throw down a bet like that every super speedway. Like,
well, okay, so here's the thing. That was on FanDuel. FanDuel's the one that I use, and again, folks, this is not financial advice.
No, it's not.
They had never allowed you to parlay top 10s until this week. I have a feeling going forward you would not be allowed to parlay top 10s. Or you will, because they'll get a big influx of people betting.
Yeah.
But the other crazy thing is like guys to finish top 10 was like minus 120 for like some of the favorites, like a Chase Elliott above a Wallace. To finish top 10, which is not normal. Usually your guys that are running up, all your playoff guys will be minus 3 something or 2 something, which you make less, like, you have to spend $2 to win $1 if it's minus 200, for example. So it's not normal that the odds are like that. Because those guys usually have a lot higher numbers. They'll be like plus 10,000 for a top 10 instead of 2. But so like they kind of, you know what I mean? They kind of like smushed them together instead of.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to that guy. I was gonna do a Rick Ware Racing top 10 parlay and I didn't, and I'm kicking myself for it.
Yeah, you would have gotten both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, you have to get both of them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If one of those didn't hit, we don't give a crap. Dude doesn't get any money. So like
Yeah.
There was another guy too that did what's called round robin. So like you have to get 5 of the 6. But like if you get all 6, you get more money. But if you get 5 of the 6, that's kind of like that type of stuff. But congrats to that guy. Big shout out.
That's so cool.
You're probably just keep all that money. No more betting ever again.
Yeah.
You're good.
Cash out.
Call it right there. That's it. You're done.
You're done. But nevertheless, a interesting Daytona Cup Series race.
Yeah.
We also had an interesting Xfinity race on Saturday morning, and by morning I mean 2 a.m.
Oh my god.
Nothing like late night NASCAR.
I fell asleep like 3 or 4 times, so I don't really have a good gist of the majority of the race. It seemed like there were a lot of cars still left the first time I woke up to Rick Allen screaming about there being a wreck. And then I proceeded to fall asleep every time and wake up again with him screaming about a wreck until the final one, where I saw there was like 7 cars left, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to stay up for this one. And I committed to it, and it was the last one. So you're welcome. You're welcome, America. I decided to stay up so the race ended.
Thanks for ending it.
Yeah. The first 2/3 was a relatively calm plate race, like these tend to be. And then, yeah.
Noah took a really, really hard hit. And we didn't talk about it with the Cup, so maybe we'll circle back to it. But Noah took a really hard, vicious hit, spinning the car down the back straightaway.
I'm trying to think of where the race all started to go to hell. I think it was when Creed and Nemechek got together off of 2, and then Creed got pile drove.
I was very sad that Joe Nemechek didn't qualify for this race too. That was sad.
That was
Thanks for
that race. The first like 80% of that race went by so quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the last 20% felt like double the first 80%.
Probably was.
It happens like that sometimes, but man, it was wild.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was dumb.
Because didn't that race start at like 10?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it ended around like 1:45, 2 o'clock.
Yeah. It was late.
Bad.
I mean, I like late races personally. I know
not that late.
I mean, I like it. I know it shouldn't happen like that all the time. It shouldn't be on purpose, but I mean, I kind of dug it. I enjoy it personally, my own experience.
There's like a weird ambiance to it where there's so little crowd noise that it's hard to explain. But like when I was watching the race on TV, I was like, it's so quiet. It's weird.
Like you mean all of the COVID year?
It kind of had a similar vibe to that, yeah.
But there were still people there, which is what makes it weirder.
Yeah. You could hear like individual people when they would like be coming down the front stretch or whatever. Or when they're like reporting from pit road.
And I don't know what it is. I know the drivers probably don't know the time of day or anything like that. They probably are not reported like what time is exactly happening at that moment. Every single time a race goes past midnight, I feel like it gets dumber.
Yeah.
Well, you're tired, right? Like
it must be
a fact. That's probably a little bit to it.
Must be.
Because off the top of my head, there's that truck race at Daytona a few years ago that had 6 finishers. 2015 Coke 0400, which I came home at 11 o'clock at night and it was just starting, and I'm on the West Coast. So
there were a lot of finishers in that race, so it's just they all wrecked at the line. Did you see they were showing the replay of that during the Cup rain delay on Saturday night? They were showing, and they had Jeff Burton and Dale Jr. doing like little in cuts during it. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But yeah, the
They get stupid at night when the sun goes down.
Yeah. But yeah, so you had Sheldon Creed gets clobbered. I can't remember who it was who hit him in the door. It like folded his car in half just about. And then Allgaier got into Allmendinger through the tri-oval. And then on the restart after that, I think was the one where Brandon Brown got turned.
Poor
and then
Brandon
the restart
Brown.
after... Yeah, and that one ended up with like Ty Gibbs spinning through the grass and just the whole field in a mess. And then the one after that was where Noah Gragson got turned, and then he got hit by, I think it was Landon Castle and got airborne. And then Daniel Hemrick got to the lead on the next one, and then he spun off a 4 from the lead. And then I was
I gotta
texting
go
my
back
dad.
and watch it.
Dude, there was just
there's
so much.
Too many damn I don't remember them.
I
Like
think I'm gonna watch it Wednesday.
I was texting my dad while I was watching this, and he was asking about it, and I was like, yeah, all my drivers that I'm rooting for keep wrecking from the top 5, so I'm just waiting for the inevitable Austin Hill problems. And then sure enough, we get to the last restart, and Austin Hill has electrical issues from the lead, and I was just like, yep, there it is, called it. Yeah. So, and then Riley Herbst spins coming to the line, and there's some debate over what the caution was for. Was it Herbst spinning or was it Austin Hill stopping on the track? But either way, NASCAR was like, yeah, we're done with this. Just throw the caution. And Jeremy Clements wins. Which is pretty
Jeremy
cool.
Clements wins, and NASCAR pulls the plug on the race pretty much too.
Yeah.
So.
They're just like, just put it out of its
Riley
misery.
Herbst spins all by himself, coming to the white flag. They wait until the field's across the line, then they throw the yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted that over with. You can't convince me otherwise. I don't care.
And honestly, I don't blame him.
But good for Jeremy Clements, right? He gets in. The bubble is getting in the Xfinity series is pretty interesting too, because I believe Ryan Sieg's the first guy out now, but he's kind of right there behind Landon Castle and Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Also, more underdogs. Timmy Hill second. Brandon Brown came back to P4. Sage Karam, Alpha Prime's first ever top 5. Vargas P6. Alex LeBay 8. JJ Ailey put the JJ Ailey ninth means both MBM cars top 10s for the first time ever. Kyle Sieg got a top 10, and somehow Jesse Uji still didn't get a top 10.
He finished 11th, so
Yeah.
he finished.
Yeah. Lead lap.
That's probably his best finish too, right? Like,
I think it is, yeah. So credit where's credit due.
don't
but
knock
it is.
him.
It's
Made it to
funny.
the end. Did a lot better than a lot of those other guys.
He missed all the wrecks. Like, it was a legit strategy. Somebody had to not finish top 10. So
Yeah. But it brought a lot of people saying, I see the stupid argument, why do we race here?
Shut up.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're doing the radio thing that Davey was talking about earlier. You are
Why
what
do
you
we
hate.
race at these super speedways? We go to a super speedway race and we wreck them up all the time. Why do we race here? Shut up. Shut
Why
up.
do we
shut
race
up.
at Indianapolis with IndyCar? Why do we, but we don't race at Pocono? Why? It's all perception. Get over it. Everyone signs up. They know what they're getting themselves into. Doesn't mean they're happy with it, but they know what they're getting themselves into. You turned on the TV, flipped on your stream, whatever you did. You knew what you were signing up for. Doesn't mean you can't criticize it. You can't not like it. Not saying you have to like it. But to act like you didn't know that's what you're signing up for is what always gets me.
Yeah. And I've always found it hard to believe that people can, like, I understand that it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I find it hard to not be enthralled by super speedway racing in some capacity. I mean, it's exciting. Like, it's what NASCAR advertises itself as. It's big moments, high speed, close racing, and finishes to match. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what we almost always get. I mean, usually, and the big wrecks come with it, and it's a shame. But there's a lot of things we could do to prevent those big wrecks too. I don't always think it has to be on the track or the kind of racing. The drivers
can go on the drivers.
The drivers make decisions. I mean, we see more often than not that it's drivers making decisions. Joey Logano sticks out here. That kind of causes some of this stuff. Chase Elliott. God, Chase Elliott. Did he cause something this week?
I don't think
so.
he did. Yeah.
Good for him.
Your
He's
Brad
still wrecked,
Keselowski's, your... Who else? Ross
He's your-
Chastain.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's still important to
Denny Hamlin.
criticize, but like,
You have to.
I
People
lost-
need to
lost
learn
my
to be
train of thought.
constructive
There-
with their criticism.
yeah,
instead
there
of
needs to
yelling from the
be-
rooftop.
There needs to be a critique from it, and it's like I was tweeting my frustration with the Xfinity race, where I was like, this sucks, but I don't know how you fix this.
Yeah.
You know, like you can make the racing garbage, but
You-
nobody wants to watch that.
The only way you fix
Yeah.
it is, hey, if you crash this week, you got a 5-lap penalty next week.
Yeah, or NASCAR needs a Mike Helton like figure to be like, hey, stop being idiots.
Knock it off.
So
But we've talked
Sure.
about
I
that
don't
to
know.
death here.
Yeah, we've
last
done that
little
one.
thing, Denny Hamlin post race interview, post Care Center interview said that was the hardest hit he's ever had in a race car. And
Dude, he got pile drove
we
like 3
add
times in
that
that wreck.
one to the next gen car being very hard and probably
Needing
needing some
I'm-
work.
reinforcement's not the correct word, clearly.
Yeah. In fact, the opposite.
Listen, if these clips, if they break, teams need to buy new ones, and they're still breaking the way it is, just make them break easier.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
because it seems to me like the way the car's like designed, kind of.
It's modular.
I don't know if
Modular's-
modularly
No, it's the right
is
word.
the right.
It
Well,
is.
no, I know modular. I don't know if modularly is the
That's-
right word.
Who cares?
Yeah, whatever. Words. But if that's the way the car's designed, would it not make sense to then not
No.
make them disposable, but
No.
make the parts that are easy to replace, not completely rigid, made out of box tube?
Yeah. Let me
I don't get it.
let me put it like this. We have all our goals, right? When NASCAR set out to make this car, we have goals. We have tiers of goals. You know, some of the ones that you can't really quantify make the racing better. Some of the ones that you can make the car cheaper, make it more reusable, make it safe.
Yeah.
Those 3 things don't coincide with each other. The overlap there is so minuscule. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't make a cheap, reusable, safe race car because those 3 things do not. Now, it's a pretty damn good effort towards it. It's probably the best when it comes to hitting those 3 targets that we've seen. But it still doesn't mean it's a success, right?
Yeah. I think what you're saying is fair. It's like, yeah, it is a really good job at hitting all 3, but unfortunately, like safety, I feel like is the most important one, and that seems like the one that they hit on the least. And not intentionally. I don't think they intended to make a car
Well, again,
unsafe.
you move the driver
but-
closer to the center of the car, yet you have anytime the impacts, they all go to the center of the car. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
oh, let's move them away from the door so those side impacts. Hey, puppy dog. I know you get so enthralled in this too.
Yeah.
But-
It's like you fix one problem and then you've created another big one.
And
out
that's
of it.
just a general issue when you make anything, right? It's
Yeah.
not but it's not anything that's new or unique
Yeah.
to building
and
race
it's-
cars.
And like when we talked about it earlier in the season, I used this when I was talking about like mechanical issues, like the tow rods that kept breaking. Is it's like there's going to be teething problems, and I hope NASCAR is like listening to the drivers and actively working on this problem, and it's just like pff, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Fun.
That's not good.
Something to look to. I assume we'll be getting some changes over the off season.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make a lot of sense
You can't change
monetarily.
it now, yeah.
Wouldn't make a lot of sense. You know, like it would look bad if we changed it. Hello, middle of the season. Everyone do this now. It's like,
Well, especially now too, because it's more than likely going to affect, say, your suspension geometry. So then people are kind of going to be MIA on setups going into the playoffs, which are the most important part of the season in NASCAR's eyes. So
And then being MIA on setups is kind of made with the racing good this year. So if you make those changes going into next year, you probably have another good year with this car.
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
So-
That's a good point.
That's what kind of made the racing so good is rule changes and teams having to kind of get away from one thing that helped and go towards another.
yeah,
Which has always been my fear with having a race car that you should be able to reuse for a long time in a platform, kind of like you have with your passenger vehicles. It's more of a platform than it is a race car. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Good point.
So, but yeah, things like toe links that are a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to kind of, and they do the same thing, and they don't necessarily have the biggest effect on what you were talking about. That's a little bit easier to change, and they did. They made them bigger. They, you know, what I mean, they widened them out. They made them a little sturdier. F1 in Belgium. Anyone care at Spa?
The Ferrari thing happened pretty quickly, and then it continued to happen.
Yeah.
Ferrari actually announced a new head strategist. His name's Charles Leclerc.
Wait, what?
They
That's a
were
joke,
like
but
they were like asking Charles like when he thought they should pit or something like that. Like
that is a chicken you know what move by the Ferrari team.
it was something to that sort where they were.
I'm trying to
going
put
to
the blame
Charles
on the
about
driver
some-
so people stop blaming them. That's what that is.
You know what it reminds me of? And I'm gonna make a football reference real quick, so I'll make it quick though, Davey.
You're good.
Throughout this whole offseason with the whole Kyler Murray thing, and
He's
then in
been
the
calling
preseason,
plays.
how they're like, fine, why don't you call plays then?
And then he's done better.
Yeah, well, his first game, they punted all 3 drives, and in the second one, he was the only one scoring points. So, but yeah, same energy as that.
But
Woo-wee.
what, Verstappen won again? I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I didn't care. NASCAR was on at Daytona. Who gives a crap about F1?
Yeah.
Verstappen won. Ferrari did Ferrari things. Insert that clip here.
Lewis Hamilton
um,
and Fernando.
Yeah,
Big wrecky wreck.
Lewis was doing some Rocket League stuff on lap 1.
He looked like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
They're Dutch Grand Prix this weekend. Verstappen's gonna win.
Yeah, I
Need
don't,
to-
I don't think it...
Do I even need to include F1 on here? Do we even care?
we all have such a hard time watching it. We don't get to watch it as much
Alright.
as we'd like.
It doesn't help that like this year has been, in theory, close but not, because Ferrari keeps screwing it up. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be a better season, but it hasn't been. But what are
Thanks,
you gonna do?
Ferrari.
Yeah.
I hate being a Ferrari fan.
So
Maybe-
much for me saying F1's better when Ferrari's good. So,
Well,
Well, they're not
technically
good.
they're not. Technically they're not good as a
The
whole.
car-
So you know.
the car's fast. That's about it.
You didn't say
He's a
that though. You
basic.
just said they're good. So that could be a
Yeah.
lot of things. Portland GP is this weekend. IndyCar, 2 races to go, including this one. Battle's close. Scott Dixon's probably
Dixon.
going to win.
I was gonna say we can't count Scott Dixon out yet.
Scott Dixon.
Will Power still leads the points. Joseph Newgarden second. Dixon
Get it!
third. I think Marcus Ericsson fourth.
It's over. Scott Dixon won the championship. Just pack it up. Why are we even going to these last races? Who cares? Scott Dixon won. Go home.
Who wins the race this week? Dixon?
Scott Dixon.
It's really hard
We can pick
to.
the same people. It's okay. Just say Dixon. It's okay. Just say it.
I know. No, I'm not going to say Scott Dixon, but I am going to predict that Will Power is going to blow this championship.
I don't know
Stop!
how you can call it blowing a championship when you have a 3-point lead and you really haven't had.
Well, he had a
double-
bigger lead last week. So.
Going into Gateway, for the first time, I think, didn't he just take the lead going into that race too?
I don't know, man.
It's not blowing it. Like, if anyone blew it, it's Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah,
That's
more
true.
accurate.
Man had the points.
They were just playing it defensive, and you can't do that.
Yeah. That's why they should sponsor us.
Yep, Husky Chocolate.
Yeah,
Husky Chocolate should sponsor us.
We're not defensive. We're offensive.
We are
Offensive.
aggressive.
Offensive.
We aggressively play with the medium of podcasting.
Yeah, like right now, Matt's playing with his pixels. He turned the
Yeah,
dial
that's-
down, less pixels.
Oh, is my camera screwing up?
Camera did a thing. Yeah, it happens.
Oh.
Happens to the best
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah,
Hey,
it does.
at least
It's
you're
doing
not
it on my
orange.
end now.
At
At
least
you're
you're
Yeah,
not
no, true.
orange.
My lighting's orange, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, NASCAR is at Darlington this weekend. Xfinity and Cup. Xfinity
Yeah!
picks. Kyle Larson in
Yeah!
the Hendrick 17. He was
Yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to be in
yeah,
the
yeah.
Junior Motorsports 88.
Larson's gonna wall it and cut a tire.
Denny Hamlin, right? That's probably the pick.
I'm gonna pick Larson to finish second because he does that every time we come here.
Okay.
Ooh.
For my
That's
race
a-
winner, who do I? No, give me Chastain. He was really fast here when we were last time. So.
What car is he in?
Oh wait, no, we're
48?
picking Xfinity. I'm dumb.
Chastain's in the
Jeez.
Xfinity race. He's
He
in the
is
48.
actually
He is
running the
in-
48.
he is in the
Hey, give me
Xfinity
Chastain
race.
anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? Same picks for both. Chastain first, Larson second for both races.
All right, cool.
Insane.
Davey.
Hmm.
Ty Dillon's in the O2 this weekend. If you care to pick him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know. You know what? We're gonna go a little wacky. Sam Mayer.
Oh,
Yeah. Junior Motorsports. That's a good pick.
they've been really good here. So
They're fast.
Josh Berry's not gonna jump the restart. He's gonna win.
yeah.
Finally.
I would be okay with that.
So the Cup Series obviously opens up the playoffs Sunday night with the Southern 500. Before we get into race picks, although Matthew, you already picked. Who do you guys have as your 4 drivers that are eliminated here in the initial
Hold
round
on.
of the
Let
playoffs?
me look at the grid again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you mine. You ready?
Yeah.
Austin Dillon. Right?
Whoa.
That's an easy one. Big hot take there. William Byron.
We have the same list so far.
Because the 24 team has just been bad all summer. Maybe they're doing the Jimmy Johnson thing, and if they make it out of this round and they're doing the Jimmy Johnson thing, I'll probably have him in the Final Four. So this might change after this week, guys, because he should have won this, or he could have won this race in the spring. But William Byron, Austin Dillon. Here's a crazy one. Austin Cindric. Wow, crazy. I know.
We have the same 4 still. I
And
have my
Chase
4
Briscoe.
picks. Yep, okay. Yep, there you go.
I'm tempted to say Bowman, despite my biases, because his luck has been horrendous as of late. But
I was thinking about
they are-
Bowman instead of Cindric. too.
they're a lock for a round of 12 elimination. So they're gonna make it through this one. Don't worry. But mine, I'm tempted to put Austin Dillon through to the next round because I'm thinking back to 2020 when he almost won 2 of the first 3 races of the playoffs after barely making it in.
Not barely making it. I mean, he made it in. He won at
Yeah.
Texas. The worst
Same
Texas
scena-
race ever, but he made it in.
I'm pretty sure it's the same scenario too, where he was 19th in points and then won his way in. Basically, just the win was at a different point, which is funny. But yeah, I think it's Dillon, Byron. Briscoe runs great, but they can't finish races. So, and I don't think that's going to change. And then, yeah, I think Cindric is the other one.
Dang, we're about to be so wrong here.
Although, I think you could swap Cindric for Suarez because Suarez has a lot of bad luck at the end of races as well too, and Cindric is really good at finishing like 12th every week.
Yeah, Cindric's the one where it feels like he will probably end up making it. Honestly,
Yeah,
I was gonna say I feel like I could put Cindric in and take out a Bell or a Bush just because
I don't know about Bush. I think Kyle's been running better.
he's been running better.
He's been
That's a good point.
happier for some reason. I don't know what that reason
yeah.
could be.
I wonder what's going on. That or he's just gone full.
That Matt Colleague check about to
Yeah,
go through.
Not
About
having
to
to own the
cash
truck
out.
team all by himself gonna be good money.
yeah.
Don't even have to change the acronym. It could still be Colleague Bush Motorsports, baby. KBM.
That's insane.
I was gonna
That's
say
an
though,
awesome idea.
if we're talking about getting eliminated, Kyle Busch has had a lot of races this year where he ran like top 5 and then wrecked right at the end. So.
I mean, you can
It's
say
just-
that about pretty much all these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're
Yeah.
being-
I'm saying Kyle Busch has self-spun on road courses a lot this year, and
Yeah.
I know it's not a road course in the first round, but it's like, yeah, it could go anyway.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'd say Christopher Bell because I think that 20 teams have been really good this year. You also have to think all the efforts that were going towards Truex are going to get split among those teams. Probably a line share going to Hamlin's team.
Yeah.
But some of the efforts there with the 19 obviously go back to the other guys in the playoff. Cindric's probably the one though out of those. I mean Byron too. If Byron's what he was the first quarter of the year,
Yeah,
he's a
if they can
championship
get back on a hot
favorite,
streak.
right? If
Yeah.
he's but we haven't seen that for four months now, pretty much, right? So
It's really crazy, like how, like somebody pointed out, he's had a top 10 since he won Martinsville.
Yeah.
And like he's had a lot of 11th and 12th place finishes during that stint, but they've also had a lot of like 20th place runs.
so
It's great.
Byron
Yeah.
feels like he's probably the one that you'd think would make it, probably won't. Like you said, Suarez not making it wouldn't be surprising. 99 team hasn't been as strong as the one. They also don't have a lot of playoff points.
Right.
Austin Dillon feels like the easy one to kick, like he normally is when he's in the playoffs.
Jeez.
Did you realize he has 20 NASCAR National Series wins? I didn't realize he had that many.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Xfinity wins.
And the
I
crazy
feel like-
part is most of them didn't come when he was full-time in Xfinity.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember that because when he won the title in 2013,
win a
he had one
race.
career. Yeah, he had one career win, and then in like the next 2 years when he was running part time, he was just tearing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But race picks. Matt took Ross, Chastain.
Hmm.
Who you got, Davey? I'm taking Denny Hamlin, so
That's tough. I'm gonna go Kevin Harvick.
they're running a throwback car too. Shout out to the 14.
ooh,
Good.
I think I just saw that the 44 is running a Jeff Gordon throwback, so that sucks, but kind of cool, I guess. Alpha Prime 44. There's a couple guys
Yeah.
running throwbacks, so that's cool that they're at least doing it the way it should be, like God
Yeah.
intended throwback race to be.
God intended.
Let's wrap this up. Shut up. Unreal.
1,500, baby.
Yep.
It'll be fun. The race won't end until midnight. It'll be a great time. Longest race of the year. Longer than
Can't
the
wait.
600.
Oh yeah.
I hope not.
Last great weekend in NASCAR racing is this weekend.
That 600 was. I don't want to do that again.
You were there,
I'm not going
right?
back. Yes,
At least it was
I'm
a good
not doing it.
race.
it was a great race, but like
It's long.
the length of the race on top of the debauchery that happened the night before.
Yeah.
Oh
We won't get into that, though.
no,
Yeah.
a door was broken.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
But folks, cannot thank you enough for
Oh,
listening, watching, doing all that stuff this week here for the Fake Racers podcast. As always, you can follow at Fake Racers on Twitter to stay up to date. Davey will make those posts later this week. You can also follow us at Johto Network, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Davey needs to clip things from the show too, so we can post them. That's his. Yep.
I know.
I feel like if I say it on here, it gives you a little more motivation. It hasn't worked
Does.
yet, but
It will work.
eventually.
It will work soon.
Yeah.
But again, at Johto Network, we're over here on JTN2. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember to follow Johto Network or subscribe to Johto Network here on YouTube as well. AutoSim 2 coming out soon, so make sure you check all that out. Going to be fun, kind of launching that game. Davey, you want to any links or stuff, or do you care?
Not this week.
All right, those are all down below. Matt, any?
Man.
All right, everyone's stuff is down below if you want to
It's one
find out
link.
more. At msteelman51 on Twitter.
There you go.
But folks, as always, cannot thank you enough for watching the Fake Racers podcast. Click the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. We appreciate it so much. We'll see you guys next week right here on JTN2.
I love you.